So, but I think I'll just go ahead and continue to talk a little bit about them. So this team that I felt was so covered, so dominated by women, ends up being a team of 19 people, of which 12 are women in the commercial space. And I think when you start to understand what the commercial space is, it's very different than residential real estate. Most people will tell you that it's a numbers business and it's an investment business. And for both of these individuals, that's exactly what it is. They really enjoy what they're doing. They really don't want to do residential. They don't want the emotional part of the transaction, which I found very interesting when I talked to them. And for them, it's really building a case study for someone and finding the right match between leasing and buying and profit on the bottom line for the property that the client is interested in. So for both of them, that's why they're in this business. They like that numerical piece of how it comes together. And Sherry's been in the business for quite a long time, and this year is having a phenomenal year doing business, ranking number 4 in the group of 19. And Becca is working together with Brandon as a group and ranking number 3. So both these women know a lot about commercial real estate and the benefits and the pros and cons of being in that business. So as we get them on the screen, hopefully they're on the right link.
Well, and Sherry's daughter joined us not too long ago, Kelsey Heath, in the commercial division. So they're working closely together, which is a very exciting combination.
So in fact, honestly, hot off the press, she just opened up shop in Montrose to do 2 days a week as a property manager there in a business that we don't even have set up for that town yet. And we do actually have a commercial office space now at the regular residential office space in Montrose for them to work out of. So that's very, very exciting. She's super excited about it.
It's very exciting. And here comes Miss Sherry.
Awesome.
We need you to unmute yourself, Sherry.
Unmuted. I don't know where my picture is.
There you are.
Oh, there you are, Miss Sherry. We got this figured out for you.
We were on the wrong link.
No worries. Can you share with us are you able to find your camera?
It was working before. I didn't do anything different.
Okay.
Kelsey's helping Becca. When she comes back, she'll probably end up helping me.
Okay, no worries.
We were just speaking about your lovely daughter.
I heard. There we are. There I am.
Go.
Hey, I figured it out myself. I didn't have to have Kelsey.
Woo!
Yeah, we talked yesterday. In fact, we're going to lunch tomorrow. She's super excited about the new office in Montrose. So it's great to have her in our field, our sphere.
She's got a lot of energy. And
Yeah.
she's like Brandon, they both are very up, a lot of energy. So
They really had a great meeting yesterday with a developer in town. So they're very, very excited about what they brought back as far as tools and connections. So we're hoping to fill up that market just like you do in Grand Junction, which is awesome. There's a big void of your services, which is great. So Sherry, I think while we're waiting for Becca to come on, I talked a little bit about my impression that I walked into your meeting and there were so many women in this Prime Properties weekly meeting. And I went to count and there's 12 of you out of 19 that are women, which is, for me, that's just really a powerhouse number and it's really impactful. So tell me a little bit about how you got to commercial real estate and why you chose it.
well, I came in through property management. I had done property management in Houston in the 80s and I had commercial properties that I managed. And we didn't have to have a real estate license, so I didn't do real estate. It was just property management of commercial. I followed that when I went to Breckenridge and lived there, but I got into residential, real headaches. I went back to retail and got into an art gallery for 10 years, which was great because I got to meet startup companies and like myself now, it gives me some knowledge on what you're starting out with when you're trying to get a lease or get going with your business. And then here I just walked in one day and talked to Pepper and she says, we're looking for a property manager. And I'm like, great, because that's what I do. I did many years ago. And so they were kind enough to bring me in. And then a month later, they said, would you get your license? And I'm like, I'm 50. I don't know if I could take a test, but I passed it. So I'm like, okay, now I'm a realtor. I get to learn about commercial real estate. So I've been doing both ever since. But the property management's given me a lot of advantages in the commercial. It's given me people relationships that I got to sell their properties and just a lot from that.
Well, it sounds like your experience also allowed you to understand how someone builds a business, which when we talked originally, you know, doing commercial real estate is connected to also wanting to help a customer or client know how to build their business and put the commercial real estate into the deal. And I feel like you bring a lot of those great qualities to the arrangement, which is fantastic. So Becca, welcome, welcome. Can you get yourself off of unmute? You have to unmute yourself. It's all right.
Hey, sorry about that. I'm having technical difficulties here. My light went out. My computer wasn't working. Sorry. I'm trying to keep it light so you can see my face. There we go.
Sounds great. So I was just telling everyone about the team and how you guys work together and how there's such a large group of women in this office, which really impressed me. But tell me a little bit, you've been in the business for a shorter amount of time. Why did you choose commercial real estate over residential? And how did you come to be in this position that you're in now?
Well, I mean, my husband and I have owned real estate before, and we've been very successful at some investment properties. They were mostly rental investment properties. And, you know, it was just something that I felt like was a little bit more business oriented instead of an emotional type of sale and business, which residential can be sometimes. It's just very more cut and dry. What is the return on the investment? Does it make sense? You know, do the numbers work out? And it was just something that I found that I was better at, and wanted to kind of test the waters, also not only to help my clients, but also to learn more for myself so that I could become more of a savvy investor as well.
So for what I hear from both of you, it's very much related to the clients and maybe also yourselves in the end, being investment oriented. And I think that bottom line ROI and what's the return on investment that your client's going to get from the property, which allows you to create the plan and then scope out whatever the real estate that you're seeking. And I think that was the piece that really, when I talked to you originally, really stood out for me as far as what makes the difference. So a couple of things. Becca, what do you find are the challenges as a woman in this commercial space? What does that feel like? What are your challenges with that? Is there a challenge or is there not?
You know, I think every year that I'm in it, I find that it gets easier and easier because you do develop your sphere and you have those clients. And, you know, once you have those successful sales and you have those clients that start coming back to you because you know you've done a great job, it builds your confidence. You do learn from your mistake with any business. I would say the hardest thing for me was moving to Grand Junction, starting a real estate career and not knowing anyone. Like I didn't have family name or any type of people that I knew that could vouch for me. So it was very much like jump in feet first and prove myself. And that took some time, you know, and also, you know, I wasn't on a team at the time. So it was just really kind of learning as I go and building that client base and proving myself in this industry. And the more that you do that, the more that you do start getting referrals. And, you know, I do get phone calls like, oh, you worked with my friend so-and-so. And it's validation that you're doing the right thing and you're doing a good job. And, you know, you just got to keep at it. I mean, I think that for me and this business is because we are commission only, it gets me up every day. You know, it gets me out of bed because you gotta get out there and make those phone calls to drive your business, because nobody's got a paycheck for you at the end of the week. You got to get it for yourself. So I work well like that. I want that drive.
Yep, that environment. Becca, how long have you been doing commercial?
I'm going on 6 years.
Nice. And Sherry, for you, how long have you been doing the commercial piece now with us?
10 years.
10 years. So your thoughts a little bit about being a woman over 10 years in this business. What's been maybe your biggest challenge, maybe personally and in business, in doing what you're doing?
I feel like that I've never realized that there was a challenge between, you know, women and men. I think mainly because my father had always raised me that you can do anything you want, which is kind of unbelievable for that era in the 60s. He always said, you can do anything. Don't ever let anybody tell you cannot do it. There's not male or female. You get out there and do what you want to do. That kind of drive. And people have always treated me the same. I didn't know anything about commercial when I came in. And I have to admit, like Mike Foster and people who have been in the business a long time, talked to me like I'd been here all along and always would help me with anything. I've had questions. I never felt like there was any, it was always easy, really. It's been easy. But I think like Becca says, over time you do things you adjust, I guess, maybe, and you just start realizing, yeah, I've got a lot more to give, and I can, you know, then I think we're more detail oriented women and better communicators too. So
That's a benefit. That's
yeah.
huge. I agree. And it's interesting because you share that at a different level and you try to incorporate that into a group of individuals, of all of us blended together, and the conversation changes. So I think that's hugely beneficial. Well, I'm super excited to have had you both on here. Don't worry about the technical difficulties. That's what life is like when we live on Zoom. But I'm also just want to say congratulations to both of you on your success so far this year. I mean, for you, Becca, you guys are ranking number 3 in the office, and for Sherry, you're number 4. You guys are running really strong increases, and coming out of the COVID environment and feeling like commercial is back on track, I'm sure is a great feeling. And we just hope to hear more from you. We're super excited. We just, so everyone knows, we've just opened an office space within the residential group in Montrose to try and expand that market and to showcase that we can expand commercial into other markets. So these are the ladies to talk to if you have questions and interests about what commercial could be like, if you are interested in doing that in your neck of the woods. So thank you, ladies, for coming and joining and sharing a little bit about your story.